Diddy's lawyers have filed this memorandum in response to the government's opposition to his request for bail. Hey, I'm America's attorney. I've been a lawyer for over 23 years and I've helped over 20,000 clients. And I've been covering every step so far in Diddy's criminal case. So let's find out what his defense team has to say about the prosecution's allegations, including his secret phone calls. The defense team's rebuttal of the prosecution's position doesn't hold a lot of new information. For those of you who haven't watched my multiple breakdowns regarding the defense's renewed motion for bail, here's a recap. The prosecution has three main reasons for opposing Diddy's request for bail. Reason number one, the new request for bail does not include new material information and therefore doesn't fall under the appropriate rule. The defense's rebuttal, essentially the same argument that's in their original motion. The material they've received through discovery shows that the prosecution has exaggerated its claims of obstruction and the danger that Combs poses. One specific example is the defense's claim that the prosecution edited the hotel footage released by CNN in a way that omitted key scenes and presented evidence materially out of order. They claim that the text between Combs and victim one and Combs and the grand jury witnesses show that Mr. Combs' contacts with witnesses were innocuous and consistent with his right to participate in his defense by developing potential defense witnesses. Look, if it's true that the U.S. Attorney's Office edited the Intercontinental video to make it look worse than it really was, then shame on them. Defendants are entitled to a fair trial, not just a trial where the evidence has been manipulated. And Combs' kicking and physical abuse of his then girlfriend Cassie is so bad that no editing needs to be done to it to make it seem worse. On the other hand, Combs' argument that his beating on Cassie has no bearing on bail because she was at the time his girlfriend and not merely a future witness against him is as insane as it is mean. She is who she is. She is both his former girlfriend and his current accuser. He doesn't get a pass because the video was edited or because they were dating at the time. Prosecution reason number two, Diddy has been making secret phone calls and texts via other inmates' phone numbers, three-way calling, and the messaging service Contact Me ASAP. The defense's rebuttal, everyone does it. According to the filing, using other inmates' numbers is a widespread practice at the MDC. As for using Contact Me ASAP, neither the defense team nor Combs knew it wasn't allowed as it's monitored by the Bureau of Prisons, and Combs has now stopped using it. Furthermore, the defense claimed that since the prosecution can't point to specific statements that constitute obstruction, then the call shouldn't be used against Combs. What? Look, Combs looks really, really guilty here. If the rules are that you can only have certain communication when you're in the jail, and then you go outside those rules, which he concedes that he did completely break the Bureau of Prison rules, then the only reasonable inference to the judge is that you will also violate any restrictions that the judge might put on you once you are out of jail on bail, if that were to happen. This is a tough spot for Combs. Combs is actually like a child arguing that the only reason that he sneaks out of his room at night is that curfew is too early. But if you'll just let him stay out all night, he won't need to sneak out. Bro, the thing is, they really want you to stay in your bed.
Was that wrong? If anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here, that sort of thing was frowned upon.
And reason number three for the prosecution, Diddy has plenty of resources to prepare for trial at the MDC. The defense's rebuttal, the fact that Diddy's cell was raided and the prosecution was able to get their hands on Diddy's legal notes proves Combs can't prepare for trial in jail. They also point to the fact that the prosecution has heard some of Diddy's phone calls, which may or may not contain confidential information. This is just noise. People can fully prepare for trial while in jail. The entire concept of pre-trial detention is dead if the court is to accept the defense's argument. This is simply not a great argument for them to make. That 16-page memorandum was filed last Thursday, and the following day, the prosecution filed this letter taking aim at a specific case the defense is trying to use to justify a new bail hearing. If you remember from one of my previous videos, I break down the defense's attempted use of the United States versus Jeffries as precedent regarding the amount of bail. The case had similar charges and some similar circumstances. The prosecution's latest filing, however, claims that Jeffries' case didn't include a racketeering charge or allegations of non-trafficking related violent acts, two things that Combs' case does include. And according to the letter to the judge, while Jeffries allegedly also engaged in efforts to conceal criminal activity, including through the use of surveillance and threats of litigation to ensure victim silence, that alleged conduct ended in 2015. Here, however, the conduct charged against Combs extends all the way through 2024. This is actually a pretty good argument. However, the Jeffries defendant was in fact over 80. He had no gun or violence issues, and so he's not a perfect comparator. However, he is white And I'm more than a little surprised that Combs' team didn't point that out in the briefing. Look, the judge can rule on this whenever he wants, and I'm sure he'll rule on it pretty soon. But the weakest point for Combs is this: because the Bail Reform Act only allows for a re-examination of bail when there is new evidence, then the judge can just punt on all of these complicated issues and say that Combs knew all the information at the time of his original bail hearing, and that he doesn't even clear the hurdle for getting a new hearing on these issues. Because his lawyers are trying to split hairs, saying that while Combs might have known all the relevant facts, his lawyers didn't. But that's not the standard. And his lawyers know that, and of course the judge knows that. To me, this is a total toss-up. I could see it going either way. But whatever happens, I think that we can see that Combs will live and act like the rules just don't apply to him, which is, after all, the main lesson that he's learned from the universe so far in his life. What are your thoughts on these filings? Do you think that the defense team has done enough to convince the judge that the prosecution is wrong about Diddy? Do you think that the Jeffries case applies in this situation? Drop your pro se opinion down below and let me know what you think. And while you're down there, make sure you lawyer up with me, America's Attorney, and hit that subscribe button. I will be back soon with more videos, and you don't want to miss it. I'll see ya. Reason number one. Wow. Reason number one. I should read just bail because he was at the time his boy.